How are you, Brian?
We're here for another
12 months gone by, Brian. Are we getting any younger?
We are, because you have to smile whenever you see the
Absolutely.
number of people that's here.
Oh, gosh,
Flexibus are doing such a remarkable work in County Meath.
Absolutely. Look at the crowd that's here. But listen, Flexibus, the brand is out there, and it's a brilliant brand, and the amount of work they do in my area, in the Trim South Meath, and in the whole of Meath, it's absolutely fabulous. And that's what I said last year. I'll be standing by anything that Flexibus does in the whole of County Meath, and we don't want any cuts. It's more services we need, because I'm dealing with the likes of Kilmessan and Summerhill, where they're finding it very, very hard, and Beliver, to get transport, government transport, and they're finding it very, very hard to get transport. Well, basically what's happened in Summerhill is that CIE bus goes directly by it and they don't stop, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm looking at that to see can we get a service to stop there. Kilmessan has no CIE bus going through at all. Last year we met with them when they were meant to do something for us, and we've heard nothing, only fogging us off. Now I believe this morning that if we can get 7 names on a list, that Flexibus will come into Kilmessan, and hopefully I'll get a lot more, so I'll be going back and talking to the people in Kilmessan. But I see the great work that Flexibus does, and it's a credit, to everybody that's involved in the Flexibus.
Well, that's how the rural transport develops, because it's only by people seeking involvement within a community. And people would think that East Meath, close to Dublin, no isolation, no rural issues at all, but you're probably finding with your constituents, you'll probably see a good number of your constituents here.
Absolutely, because even in Beliver there, they have no services going through Beliver. And like the population, there's 700 or 800 houses built out in Beliver there. That's huge for a small rural area to have that. So the houses were built, but the infrastructure wasn't put in there, and they're being forgot about. And that's where Flexibus comes in, that the service goes out there and it gives people an opportunity to get in and do a bit of shopping and live their everyday life, normal life. So I've been meeting with them, and they've been keeping me informed of what's going on, and seeing where Flexibus system there, where one of their drivers is actually driving the bus and Trim for St. Joseph's, where there's a recruitment embargo, and one of the drivers actually retired, and only for Flexibus they're giving them a driver.
So they're able to enhance the service.
Absolutely, and we have to move on there and give Flexibus more authority over the system, because if we don't, to be honest with you, I'm disappointed with CIE, because they haven't come up to the mark when it comes to rural transport in the likes of the areas that I'm dealing with. They're running and they're ducking for cover, and I have said it to the Minister that it's just not good enough, and I want something done. And if it means giving Flexibus more money and more options to do, well, that's what has to be done, because CIE are not coming up to the mark, Brian.
And also the health service as well, that Miriam is doing quite a number of new work for the health service. They can't even handle the health end of it, so how can they effectively manage transport sides of the health service? So
Absolutely. And I was astonished to hear that the embargo had, that a man retired and they couldn't get a driver. So that tells you what the HSE are up to. And right, listen, there's recruitment embargoes when it suits, and there's no recruitment embargo when it doesn't suit. So I was very, very annoyed to hear that Flexibus had to come in and get a driver there for St. Joseph's and Trim.
So now, there were one or two other things that we wanted to deal with. Of course, Navan and Trim, two of the largest towns in the county. Trim is embarking on, you were saying a little bit earlier.
Yes, well, the gathering, we have the gathering coming. I mean, I have Noel French here, the President of the Chamber of Commerce in Trim, and we have the gathering in 2013. And we run the Celtic Festival in the Trim area, and what we're hoping to do, it coincides with Patrick's Day. What we're hoping to do is to have a major festival, and we're going to invite everybody that has emigrated out of the area and around the Meath area to come back, hopefully for 2013, if they can at all, to come back to Meath and the Trim area. And we have a huge festival starting off with the Celtic Queen,
and maybe Noel might.
And Noel is going to tell you what's going to happen in the castle.
Right. Noel, this is going out live on the web on Meath TV. So,
very good.
You have access to the Meath diaspora all over the world.
Good.
So there's something you'd like to say about the festival in Trim?
We have lots of events happening in Meath next year. It's a countrywide festival. People are asked to organise their own events. But in Trim, Ray and myself are coordinating together the Celtic Festival. It's based around St. Patrick's weekend, but we're hoping to have a major concert in Trim Castle on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, with some wonderful Irish music and dancers and lighting and fireworks, and it's going to be a big event, we hope. All free.
So and that now you have an opportunity with us going live to the web, so that you're going to encourage the Meath diaspora looking in from all over the world. Come back to Trim around St Patrick's weekend for a gala weekend.
Absolutely, but it's not only for St Patrick's weekend. We have other events happening throughout the year. We have one for anybody with Meath ancestors happening in June. That's tying in with the Scurlougstown Olympiad. And then we're looking for anybody with the surname of Trim. And we're having that time. Absolutely. There was an act of parliament way back in the 1400s where anybody, the English couldn't speak the Irish language. So they decided it would be simpler if we take English surnames. And one of the surnames they suggested was town names like Cork, Kinsale, Screen, Slane or Trim.
All right.
And we've been collecting people with the surname of Trim coming to Trim, and we have about 22 people who have visited Trim over the last 20 years.
And that could develop because the gathering is not just 2013, it's 2014 and onwards to encourage people to come back.
We're trying to get people to come back to the country and maybe spend a few pounds and support in our hour of need. But with our festival and the Celtic Festival, what we're hoping to do on Patrick's Eve or that day, it's a Saturday, what we're hoping to do is cordon off the whole of Castle Street. We're hoping to have a medieval village, and what we're hoping to do out in the Porchy Fields is have a Braveheart enactment battle out in one of the fields there, basically. So it's going to be a whole day of enactment, and then we're having that evening monastery monks are going to be singing. So it's all going to be done round the castle, and then on that eve everything will be done in the castle, inside the castle grounds, so it'll be all lit up and everything. We will have seating for the elderly, a couple of hundred seats, but we're asking people if they can stand. Hopefully they'll stand, because we're expecting a big crowd, and then we'll have a major fireworks display that evening as well too.
Right. So from the Chamber of Commerce point of view, you must be delighted, because every town is suffering from the downturn, and with you being chair of the Chamber of Commerce, that must help with hospitality, with all the different elements that's associated.
Absolutely, yeah. The hospitality industry in Trim is the major industry. We have 3 major hotels. They create a huge amount of employment, and from their employment, they then go and spend in the shops, and the shop people go and spend in other shops. So it's a filter down. So the hospitality industry is huge. We have more than 12 festivals in Trim every year. So it's
so people planning to return to Ireland, and people that may just want to go to an event of maybe historic importance, you say pencil Trim in, and maybe go to 1 or 2 others while they're here, but make sure
absolutely. Well, Trim has a wide variety of festivals, from the Wall Town Festival to Scurlougstown Olympiad is huge. We have cycling. Trim is getting a real name for cycling. We have the Unpost Heritage Cycle. We had Greg LeMond recently in Trim. So the number of cycling events happening in Trim now is huge.
Right. So you're very optimistic. It's great to see it in the present climate.
Yes, and in each county, what has happened, the government are planning in each county that there will be 3 major events in each county. So this will be one of the major events in the Meath area, the Trim Castle, and that night on Paddy's Eve. So we're hoping for a huge turnout.
Right. Well, that's fantastic news for people from Meath and the diaspora, of course, and from the surrounding areas to come to Trim. And also, when you're looking up the different events, you've heard 3 events in the county, so look out for the other 2. Maybe if you can't get to Trim, plan for the other ones. But come to Meath in 2013 and beyond. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you very much,
and we'll see you in another 12 months.
Thank you.
We'll see him at the Celtic Festival at the Castle.
Yes.